Ladies and gentlemen, of course, here's a powerful, calm, and purposeful introduction in Shi Heng Yi style for your motivational speech. Build yourself quietly by these 6 ways of picture a small sapling growing deep in a silent forest. There is no rush, no grand announcement, yet it develops roots, strong, deep roots that will one day support its majestic form. This is the way of transformation. This is the path we sometimes forget in a world filled with noise, comparison, and distractions. Today, we will talk about how to build yourself quietly, piece by piece, from within, not for the approval of the world, but for your own peace, your own future, and your own power. In Shaolin, we say, the greatest growth happens in silence. The greatest achievements are forged away from the crowds in patience, discipline, and deep observation. So let us embark together on this journey, a journey of 6 powerful ways to transform ourselves quietly, honestly, and profoundly. Silence is a powerful tool that many people underestimate. It is not a sign of weakness or a lack of confidence. Instead, it shows maturity, discipline, and deep understanding. Embracing silence means turning inward and listening to oneself. It means making space for your thoughts, for your doubts, for your goals, and for your true desires. It is a way of honoring your own path instead of reacting impulsively to everything happening outside you. When you learn to appreciate silence, you start to cut through the noise of distractions, the phone notifications, the social media messages, the chatter of people around you. All these create a kind of mental fog. It becomes hard to see what matters and what doesn't. But in silence, this fog starts to lift. Your mind finds clarity and peace. Your goals become sharper, your priorities become more defined, and your doubts diminish. Silence lets you observe without judgment. It lets you become a silent warrior, someone who is not easily influenced by the chaos of the world, someone who is anchored in their own center. Naturally, this centering makes you more productive, more creative, and more decisive. Your choices come from a place of deep understanding instead of reactive emotions. Embracing silence is a form of discipline. It requires you to resist the temptation to fill every moment with activity and conversation. It means choosing sometimes not to respond immediately, not to say everything you think, not to show everything you feel. It means trusting that your actions will speak when the time is right, without needing to constantly announce your plans or your progress. Silence lets you become more comfortable with yourself. It lets you appreciate your own thoughts and become your own best friend. It lets you confront your doubts and your weaknesses honestly and compassionately. It lets you come face to face with your own soul without the distractions of the external world and resolve whatever holds you back. Some people fear silence because it reveals things they have avoided. It shows them their doubts, their anxieties, their disappointments. But this is precisely where the greatest growth happens. Inside silence, you find the roots of your struggles. You see where you need to heal and where you need to grow. Instead of ignoring these signals, you learn from them. Silence is not a void. It is a rich, fertile space. It is a place where you can reflect, innovate, and become more of who you truly are. It lets you connect with your intuition and creativity. It lets you filter out the distractions and find your own voice. It lets you become more purposeful and more intentional in your choices. When you embrace silence to develop your inner strength, you learn to move through the world with confidence and peace. Your confidence no longer depends on validation from outside. It comes from a deep understanding of yourself and your goals. Your peace comes from letting go of needless worries and focusing on what matters. Your discipline grows, your patience deepens, and your ability to stay true to your path strengthens. Silence, then, is not weakness, it is power. It is the foundation upon which you can quietly and profoundly transform yourself. Discipline your daily habits and you will transform your life from the inside out. It all starts with understanding that true change is not about huge leaps or dramatic overnight success. It is about small, consistent choices made day after day. Your habits shape your future more profoundly than your goals or promises. Whatever you do repeatedly becomes a part of who you are. If you want to become someone strong, patient, and successful, you need to discipline your daily habits first. This discipline is not about punishment or suffering. It is about honoring your future self and making choices today that align with the person you want to become. It means choosing to get up at a certain time each morning, choosing healthy food over temptation, choosing reading over distractions, choosing action over delay. It means honoring your routines even when you feel tired or discouraged, trusting that this discipline is slowly adding up to something much greater. Every small habit compounds. A few minutes of reading each day expands your knowledge. A short walk each morning strengthens your body. Making your bed first thing signals discipline and order. The way you handle tiny choices reflects your ability to conquer larger obstacles. If you discipline your small habits, you are training yourself to handle greater responsibilities and pressures when they come. Your discipline will soon become a kind of momentum. At first, choosing discipline feels heavy and restrictive, but after a while it starts to lighten you. It becomes a path forward instead of a fence holding you back. Your discipline lets you control your own future instead of reacting to whatever the world throws at you. It lets you become a person who is not tossed back and forth by temptation or laziness, but a person who moves forward with a clear purpose. Some days you will falter. Some days you will break a habit or revert back to an old pattern. That is normal. The key is to view these moments not as failures, but as signals. They show you where you need more discipline, where you need more resolve, where you need to adjust your approach. Each time you restart, you become more committed and more understanding of yourself. Discipline is a form of freedom. It liberates you from impulsiveness and regret. It lets you pursue goals that you care about without being enslaved by temporary desires. It lets you become the person you truly want to be, someone strong, reliable, and purposeful. It transforms not only your future, but your character. It instills in you a deep confidence, a peace of mind, and a maturity that can handle whatever comes. Your discipline is a reflection of your values. It shows you what matters to you, not just in your words, but in your choices and actions. It says you care more about your future than your present discomfort. It says you are willing to put in the hard, quiet effort when nobody is cheering you on. It says you will do whatever it takes to grow, to improve, and to become more. This discipline then permeates all areas of your life. Your relationships become more stable, your health improves, your career starts to reflect your discipline. Your mind becomes sharper, more focused, more adaptable. Your character evolves into someone you can be proud of, someone who makes promises and keeps them, someone who lets discipline, not temptation, dictate their future. Let actions speak louder than words. There is a deep power in choosing to show instead of tell, in letting your progress, your discipline, and your results become your voice. So often we talk about our goals, we announce our plans, we make promises we do not keep. We confuse speaking with doing, thinking we have made progress simply by putting it into words. But words without action are a kind of illusion, a shadow without a body, a dream without a path. When you let your actions do the talking, you become more credible, more trustworthy, more substantial. Your discipline shows through your choices. Your patience reveals itself in your routines. Your transformation becomes visible in your habits. There is a quiet confidence in this approach. You do not need to boast or advertise your progress. You simply live it. Your lifestyle, your achievements, and your character become a testimony to your values and goals. This is especially powerful in a world obsessed with image and appearance. Everyone wants to say the right things to portray a perfect picture of progress and success. But when you cut through the talk and focus on action, you separate yourself from the rest. Your results become your reputation. Your discipline speaks for you when your words become cheap and unreliable. Your hard work leaves a deep imprint that no amount of talking can match. Actions also clarify your own doubts and resolve your own struggles. Sometimes you may be unsure if you have what it takes, if you can keep going when it gets tough. But when you act, when you follow through on your promises, when you conquer temptation, when you push forward against resistance, you realize you are more capable than you believed. Each small action adds a brick to your confidence, to your ability, to your character. Your future is not something you talk about. It is something you construct, piece by piece, through your choices. Letting actions lead also cuts through distractions and negativity. It is easy to become discouraged by the doubts of others or the obstacles in your path. It is easy to lose momentum when you get caught up in what people say or when you overthink every decision. But when you resolve to act regardless of doubts and obstacles, you move forward anyway. Your progress itself becomes a kind of armor against negativity. Your discipline speaks a universal language, a language of results that cannot be dismissed or ignored. Your actions align you with reality. Words can create a fantasy, promises of future change, dramatic plans that stay on paper, but action brings you face to face with the real world. It shows you what works and what does not, where you need to adjust and where you need to push forward. It lets you learn through experience instead of staying trapped in theory. It transforms knowledge into power and potential into reality. When you let your actions become your voice, you become someone who is not defined by promises but by progress. Your future is no longer a distant dream. It starts to take shape in the present. Your discipline, patience, and resolve all become visible in a way that words can't convey. Your character grows, your confidence deepens, and your path forward becomes clearer and more assured. Learn continuously and humbly, because knowledge is a path, not a destination. To grow and transform yourself quietly, you need to become a lifelong student, someone who is always willing to learn, to question, to revise, and to improve. It starts with a deep understanding that you do not know everything and you never will. There is always something new to discover, a hidden depth you have not yet tapped, a piece of wisdom you have yet to learn. When you learn with humility, you become adaptable. You become more flexible in the face of change, more able to navigate uncertainty. Instead of defending your ego or your view of the world, you become curious and eager to see it from a different perspective. It means you can admit when you are wrong and adjust your course without shame. It means you view criticism not as a personal attack, but as a valuable piece of information, a tool that can help you grow. Continuous learning lets you stay relevant and useful in a world that evolves faster every day. It lets you connect disparate ideas, innovate, and solve problems in ways that a rigid mind cannot. It lets you pursue goals you once thought were unreachable and conquer obstacles you previously believed were insurmountable. The more you learn, the more you realize how much more there is to learn, and that curiosity fuels you forward. To learn continuously, you need discipline. It means reading books when you would rather watch something. It means listening to a lecture or a conversation that challenges you instead of staying comfortable in your own view. It means putting in the hours to practice a skill, to reflect on your mistakes, to absorb knowledge from those who are more experienced. It means choosing education over entertainment, choosing growth over ease. This discipline comes from understanding that your future depends on your ability to learn and adapt. Your ability to grow is not a trait you are born with, it is a habit you cultivate. Continuous education lets you become more than you were yesterday. It lets you respond gracefully to obstacles and find opportunity in crisis. It lets you become a person who is not defined by their past, but by their potential. Your greatest asset is not your current knowledge or skills, it is your ability to learn. It is your willingness to be a student for life, to pursue knowledge not for prestige or certificates, but for transformation. To learn continuously is to stay alive mentally and spiritually, regardless of age or circumstance. It means you are never finished developing, never stagnant. There is always a new path forward, a new discipline to conquer, a new understanding to be gained. When you learn in this way, you become a person who is adaptable, insightful, and wise. Your confidence grows not from believing you know everything, but from trusting your ability to learn whatever you need to know. Your discipline, patience, and perseverance all find a deep root in your ability to learn and grow. Your future then becomes a reflection of your curiosity, and your effort a rich, purposeful, and continually evolving journey. Be patient with your transformation. The greatest change in a person's character, ability, and future does not happen overnight. It evolves slowly, piece by piece. It is a process that requires patience, perseverance, and deep trust in yourself and in the path you have chosen. Often, we become frustrated when we do not see results immediately. We start doubting ourselves, wondering if we are making progress at all. But patience means honoring the process, trusting that each small step forward is adding up, even if we do not yet see the full picture. This patience lets you stay the course when things become tough. It lets you show up day after day and put in the effort, regardless of your mood or motivation. It lets you appreciate the journey itself, not just the destination, and find peace in the discipline of growing quietly. Your transformation is not a straight road. It is a path filled with twists, obstacles, and moments of doubt, but patience lets you navigate these without losing resolve. It lets you learn from obstacles instead of resenting them. It lets you view disappointments as temporary and progress as permanent. When you are patient with yourself, you become more compassionate toward your struggles and more realistic about your goals. It lets you appreciate tiny progress, a small improvement in discipline, a slight reduction in temptation, a bit more clarity in your thinking instead of dismissing them as insignificant. It lets you celebrate progress without needing dramatic breakthroughs or instant success. Your patience develops a deep, durable confidence. It lets you trust your ability to grow and change, regardless of how much you may falter or backtrack. It lets you become a person who plays the long game, who is not discouraged by temporary disappointments or slow progress. It lets you pursue goals that are worth having, goals that require years of sustained effort and patience. This patience also deepens your discipline and perseverance. It makes you more resilient, more able to handle stress and uncertainty. It lets you absorb failures and learn from them instead of letting them undermine your resolve. It lets you find peace in the process, a peace that comes from understanding that transformation is a marathon, not a sprint. Patient people become masters of their own future. They do not rush or cut corners. Instead, they do the small things well, repeatedly, over time. They know that discipline, patience, and consistency produce results that are not fleeting or shallow, but deep and permanent. They become people of character, strong, purposeful, and profoundly transformed, not by dramatic overnight change, but by the daily discipline of patience. Your patience is a form of power. It signals maturity, resolve, and deep faith in your ability to grow and become more. It lets you pursue goals that require years of effort without losing heart or direction. It lets you appreciate progress without needing instant satisfaction. It lets you become someone who is not tossed by every delay or trial, but anchored in a clear, purposeful path forward.